Howdy, folks, and welcome to the third installment of the Bridge News Network. We'd like to start off this broadcast by saying thank you for all the kind feedback as well as all the unanimous tips we've received since our last broadcast. It's truly been an honor and a humbling experience. We certainly have our ways, but having y'all be so open and candid with us makes the process a whole lot easier for us. So again, we thank you. Now, folks, before we get into this week's news segments, Lane and I would like to introduce y'all to our two newest members to the Bridge News Network. Their names are Lucio Mendez and Milton Millhouse. Now, Lucio will be reporting and interviewing in the Western region for the time being. With his expertise in off-the-grid survival, he will largely be living off the land while working on relations and stories in the West. If you see him run around in a white flat cap, military headset, and a pinstriped suit, feel free to give him a yell, as he will always be able to get the message back to the main studio if needed. He is also a lover of trading, traveling, and talking, and also canned bacon. Milton, on the other hand, will be our radio technician. He will be performing maintenance on our radios to keep the broadcast running smoothly, as well as seeking out more of them to provide a better experience for our loyal listeners. Lane and I will still be leading the charge, but these two will be adding to their respective expertises to the news network, which will help provide an overall better broadcasting experience. So if y'all get the chance to meet them, we ask kindly that you please treat them with the same hospitality that you would have with us. Alright, y'all. Now it's time to get into it. This week, we'll be primarily covering and giving an important update on the Wanderer and Black Cross dilemma, which we first introduced to y'all in our first broadcast. We get the Wanderer's official stance from Mr. George Luz himself, as well as the Black Cross's stance from the Professor Herc Hurt himself. Then finally, to wrap things up, we end the broadcast with the breaking news that will surely rouse some people up. It is chilling, folks. Trust me, you want to stick around till the end for this one.
Alrighty, howdy y'all, Lane Nielsen here again to segue us into the first part of our broadcast, the Wanderer's thoughts on the Black Cross conflict. So, this story begins with Rebel and I heading up to Star Yard to have talks with their leader, George Luz. George Luz, Ben, Spoon, and Nico invited us into their home to sit down and have a nice, cordial chat. We started off by asking them if they could tell us about themselves, tell us what the Wanderers stood for. George Luz recounts the gathering of the Wanderers, how they were a combination of different groups, Duty, Black Paw, PTU, Volca, as well as others, and individuals forming together underneath a brotherhood, a bond. A group that formed, or at least strengthened in part, by their shared hatred to kill off the Red Menace out east, otherwise known as Dam. To go further, he stated that it's not only cannibalism and murder that causes him to hate Dam. No, it seems that Dam has scarred many lives, or several lives, within the Wanderer's past. As we stated in our previous broadcast, Gush, one of the Wanderers, was killed by Dam, and they took it quite personally. George Luz even pulls up another anecdote where Dam had supposedly captured his friend Hans Gruber and fed him human meat. Hans apparently got a sickness called Kuru, and slowly deteriorated into a madman. And, as George Luz goes on to say, they've taken too many of my fucking friends, and I'm sick of it. So, with that preface on the Wanderer's hatred for Dam, we will continue on to the real meat and potatoes of this section of the broadcast. The reason behind the Wanderers' aggressions against the Black Cross. The Wanderers claim to have come down to Severgrad to offer aid and protection against Dam. The Wanderers were told that the Black Cross had to put the idea to a vote. The vote was cast and the Wanderers' offer to defend Black Cross was rejected. And everything was decided, and after everything was decided, George even went down and had a talk with Danny, one of the volunteers from the Black Cross, to determine who had cast the no during the vote. Apparently only 2 had cast no. And it turned out to be 2 people by the names Mr. Blue and Jeff, so says George. He goes on to quote, Mr. Blue and Jeff are the reason we go to Severgrad and steal their flags, hunt them down, rob them, kill them. It's all because of Mr. Blue and Jeff. They decided to bend the knee to the cannibals after being offered protection. This is about the time one of them other members spoke up. It wasn't only us who offered them protection, he says. George continues on to say, quote, the Commonwealth, the 506, they all had some degree of cooperation in this endeavor. 3 major players, I'd say, offering to help some small aid station in some shithole in the north. Because they'd rather let dark as midnight come into their town and pretend that they don't rob, kill, and pillage people. It's ridiculous. Cowards. That's all they are. They need radical change in the Black Cross, or the Black Cross is going to die. It's that simple. The minute they're under war and they agree to our terms, we'll fight damn for them. Let bygones be gone by bygones. It's not a war we want to fight. It's a war of necessity. End quote. From George Loves himself. Well, we continue to question them about the past dealings they've had with Black Cross. This seems to have been their first offer to help defend their territory from Dam. And to go even further, they claim to have only robbed a couple of them and stolen one of their flags. That's the only transgressions they've committed against the Black Cross since they've given them their ultimatum. This comes as a bit of a surprise to us reporters, and perhaps adds an air of mystery to the conflict. Rebel Eye made a trip up north to Black Cross to ask them about this whole mess. And when we came to the front gates of the station, well, I was alerted by a rebel that there was a landmine placed only a couple feet from the door. However, after asking the Wanderers if they had a recollection of leaving any landmines, they had none. It seems that perhaps someone is trying to amp up the hostilities between the groups, and cause more senseless bloodshed. Or perhaps an unrelated group that has caused issues with Black Cross as well, or has issues with Black Cross as well. Nevertheless, it doesn't seem that things are going to be calming down anytime soon in the north. We continue to ask them about how they felt about Black Cross dealings with the other groups, and perhaps they had any other qualms they planned to deal with. They stated that the Forsaken Loyalists were not big fans of theirs. And not only that, they mentioned that the landmine could have been a convenient way to frame the Wanderers. And force the Black Cross to increase hostilities. However, this is all hearsay at the moment. This basically concluded that they had no issues with any other groups. Any dealings outside theirs with the Black Cross are none of their concern at the moment. They plan to enact their plans of Black Cross and then move on to other groups who share their similar opinions. Perhaps like Dugout. George even goes on to say that, quote, Dugout is a whole different beast that we will tackle in the future. We want to work on the Black Cross first. End quote. However, to digress a bit, the Wanderers concluded that they went to Black Cross to place a permanent. They want the Black Cross to place a permanent ban on Dam from Severgrad. The Wanderers claim that the Black Cross has gone back and forth on their stance with Dam in the past, and they are tired of it. They want them to make a final decision. Kick Dam out of Severgrad for good or die. It seems it's that simple, or at least in their eyes. He even played devil's advocate, saying that he thinks people may label them as hypocrites for their actions. Some of their members have had dealings with them in the past, and even George goes on to say that he put up with Hans Gruber's shit for way too long. He states, and I quote, "If you're a cannibal, you eat people. You're not really a human. If you're a cannibal and you eat people, we're coming for you. If you wear red, and if you're damn, we're coming for you too." End quote. George did, however, late in the conversation, say that he does, quote, "want the people of Black Cross to change, not to kill him, but hopefully threaten them will speed up the process. However, if they continue to cooperate with DAM, they don't have an issue. I'm sorry. If they continue to cooperate with DAM, and they don't issue them a lifetime ban, then they will still be hostile between Black Cross and the Wanderers, the foreseeable future." So, in conclusion, I asked George, just as we were about to leave, if there was a message he'd like to impart to the people of South Segoria, and especially Black Cross, and what would it be? And he says, I quote, "We have the same terms to everyone who works with DAM. Bend the knee or be destroyed. Stop working with cannibals. Stop colluding with cannibals. Be on the right side of history. Help us rip them out root and stem. The Wanderers are not going to stop fighting this fight. Neither should you. Holy hell." And that pretty much concludes it for the Wanderers situation, or at least our talks with them. But this next part is going to transition straight into our talks with, or at least Rebels talks with Black Cross.
Wow, y'all. Seems that the Wanderers have made their stance crystal clear. But how does the Black Cross feel about it? What is their response to this proposal? The Black Cross seek peace, and so now that the Wanderers propose an opportunity for peace, surely they'll take it, right? Well, folks, the shit just ain't that simple. We had the opportunity to talk with a few of the volunteers who have given us an inside look on their personal thoughts on the conflict and proposal. The first volunteer we spoke to was Dr. Hans Schmidt. Now, Dr. Hans Schmidt explained to us that he had only been in South Segoria for the previous 3 weeks, as he had just only recently been sent here from another aid station located somewhere in Germany. Now, this is important to keep in mind, folks, because since he is so new to this country, he is unfamiliar with the history of South Segoria and could perhaps be a bit biased. Dr. Hans also stressed that these were simply his own personal thoughts and not the official stance of the Black Cross. Now, Dr. Hans explained to us that they are all about autonomy and that they believe that everyone is responsible for governing themselves. This means that if someone else were to tell them what to do, they won't do it unless they choose to do so themselves. With a strong statement like this, it prompted us to follow it up with the question. So, with that being said, why was DAM's ban lifted at their own request? Well, Dr. Hans' response was simply that they were beaten and they were left with no other option, even though they didn't want to. The lifting of DAM's ban was out of necessity, and at the time, Black Cross believed that the only way to achieve peace was to lift the ban of DAM on Severograd, despite their difference in beliefs. Dr. Hans added that he himself did not want to lift the ban, and had he arrived earlier, he would have voted no. But unfortunately, he had arrived too late, and the vote was already in. It was at this time during our interview that Lane stepped in and turned the focus back to the Wanderers and asked Dr. Hans, "So what is y'all's breaking point? What if the Wanderers don't relent? Are you going to continue signing treaties and stepping lightly? When do y'all start fighting back?" Well, this question seemed to ignite Dr. Hans, as he didn't even wait a spliggity-split second before answering, but with another question, and I quote, And I quote, "For what?" he asked. "We did nothing wrong. We were beaten to the ground. What is the point of this fucking war? I don't fucking get it." End quote. He added that the Black Cross will never fight back, but they will defend. It seemed to us that Dr. Hans was confused as to why the Wanderers were attacking them in the first place. He did not understand how the Black Cross, making a decision that only resulted in peace in Severograd, meant that they were colluding with them. He pleaded that it was out of necessity, not out of want. To prove this, he went on to show Lane and I the journals from two old volunteers,
Howdy.
Munchies and Kellenborg, who were both killed by Dam inside their very home. He added, and I quote, "So don't believe that we were colluders. I'm also not sure what the Wanderers mean, because we also have lost friends." End quote. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I must add that this interview with Dr. Hans was conducted before the proposal came in from the Wanderers. And it was only the very next day that Lane and I made the trek up to Starry Yard to meet George Luz. And so after that interview, Lane and I returned back to the aid station to get an update on their stance, and if they would consider the offer. This time, we were lucky to speak with Professor Harcourt himself, who, even though it doesn't identify as Black Cross's leader, seems to have the biggest voice within the group. The interview with Harcourt started off around the subject of trust. Well, I guess the complete lack thereof. When asked why, he replied that at one point in time there was trust, and that the Wanderers had spent a lot of time earning it. But since then, they have betrayed it by threatening their lives, stealing from the Black Cross, and the accusal of forgiving and forgetting. He was referring to the deal that was recently made with Dam. Professor Harcourt stated that anything that they do with anyone is based on a calculation of what's the best way to maintain the sort of peace they need to do their humanitarian work. He went on to add that they see themselves as custodians of the territory and not its owners. They are not a government of Severograd. They're kind of like a club, organizing to help other members of their community.
Hey, sir.
There's a
battery there.
The requirements for
perfect.
citizenship are
I
very
think he has
simple.
one, but he could totally use it.
The requirements for citizenship are very simple. Are you a danger to the rest of the community here? If not, then you're allowed. I followed up with this question that I'm sure everyone is wondering. If it is good that you are seeking, well, Darkest Midnight represents the exact opposite of that. And so what went into the decision to allow them back into Severograd? Are they not a threat? Harcourt replied that Dam is and always will be a threat, but they proved to be an even bigger threat when they were banned compared to when they were allowed. They were here even more often and shooting a lot more often when the ban was in place. Shit, they tried to keep Dan out as much as they could. He added that in the past 3 years, only 3 times on record had the Black Cross allowed Dam entry into Severograd, and even then, the sum of the amount of time Dam has been allowed entry doesn't even add up to a single year. As a matter of fact, the Black Cross had been at war with Dam for the majority of their existence. End quote. To cap off the subject, in agreement with Dr. Hans, with what Dr. Hans told us, Professor Harcourt said that the fact of the matter is, the Black Cross lost to Dam, and that is why they are allowed back. Black Cross fought, and they lost, and the only option left was to allow Dam back entry. And actually, to their surprise, since the treaty, Harcourt tells us that the treaty has in fact worked, and Dam has been much less of a threat. As a matter of fact, a much less threat than the Wanderers. I asked Professor Herkert, well, why don't you just take the Wanderer's proposal then? His first reply was that he will never forget the trust that was lost, and added that the trust cannot be earned back. It is gone. Despite the Wanderer's offer to protect him, the Black Cross deny this and believe that the Wanderers actually do not care about the Black Cross at all. They believe that the Wanderers' only interest is to use Severograd as a front line to this war. Now, I explained to Herkert that George Luz had told the bridge that he has no problem taking the war to Gorka. All he needs is for Black Cross to permanently ban Dan from Severograd. This prompted Herkert to reply, and I quote, "What kind of deal is that? What that really means is you basically have to bet on us winning this war. Maybe? But do you really think that you will be the ones after all these years to get rid of Darkest Midnight? Look, I have yet to see an army that is capable of defeating Dan. Listen, they don't give a fuck about us. If they gave a fuck about us, they wouldn't be coming to us with demands. You would be coming to us with offers to help, just like we help others." When I had mentioned to the Wanderers, when I mentioned the Wanderers' main cause and the purpose for wanting to exterminate Dan, Herkert angrily and abruptly interrupted us and stated that he too had lost one of his friends. Old Man is what he went by, and he was shot and killed by Dan as well. He then took a moment to take a breath and added that if he made his life about seeking revenge, then he would not be alive today. Herkert urged the Wanderers to do the same, as it was not healthy, and that they needed better motives for their actions. Everybody has lost someone. It's just part of this fucked up world we live in. Now, I took this opportunity to ask Herkert how he felt about cannibalism, and to my surprise, folks, he quoted, "Let me ask you, if you were adrift in the ocean and your friend just died of dehydration, I don't know, man. Do you want to stay alive? There are times and places when these sort of things is absolutely necessary. Sometimes it's even a cultural thing. It's not the cannibalism that's the problem. It's the murder, and yes, damn murder people. But so do the Wanderers. And we know that just because our volunteers were murdered just the other day, and we know that because our volunteers were murdered just the other day, just for mouthing off to them." End quote. Holy hell, folks. I'm just going to go ahead and keep my personal comments to myself about that. But to cap it all off, I asked Herkert just one last time, so that it was on the record and crystal clear. What was his response to the Wanderer's offer? Well, his response, folks, a burst of laughter, and after collecting himself, a very solid and confident no. Danny from the Black Cross was also in on the interview, and his response to the question was similar. And I quote, "I don't even know why the Black Cross is even relevant. Why even have a middleman? Just go to Gorka. We are not in between them and Gorka." End quote. Well, folks, that about wraps it up for this conflict. It is very interesting to get inside look at both sides. Both groups believe to have their noble causes, and both sides seem to fully back their own actions. It seems that both sides are currently at a stalemate, each waiting for the other to make the next move. I'm not sure what will come of this story, or where it will go from here, but we will continue to monitor the situation and provide any updates in our next broadcast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I pass y'all on to Lane with the chilling and vile story that, quite honestly, folks, it just makes my stomach turn just thinking about it. Lane, take it over, please.
All right now, folks. This last part of the broadcast is going to be quite gruesome. It's undoubtedly going to be the most heinous and disgusting act I have ever broadcasted on in my entire life. On our most recent trip to Gorka, we happened to meet up with a large group of DAM members. And after questioning them about recent events, they told us about a terrible act of violence that they were involved in. Harvey of DAM, with a grimace across his face, recounted the events that led to a child's death at his own hands. Apparently, Kaylee, a member of Black Sheep, had a child about a year ago. But the events leading up to her birth were very convoluted and sad. Kaylee was captured by DAM, and a DAM member by the name of Jezreel gave Kaylee a shovel in hopes that she would defend herself against Iris, who was threatening her life. Kaylee attempted to attack Iris with a shovel and got herself shot in the process. Iris, along with some of the other DAM members, performed an emergency C-section, which, as Harvey stated, ended up causing a whole bunch of problems for the rest of the group. Jezreel's ultimately ended up stealing the baby and ran off with it to Black Cross. At this point, Zerka, another member of DAM, spoke up about how the baby had been handed off to several groups. She claimed that the baby had been handed off to Black Cross, the 506, the Black Sheep. Harvey goes on to say some people, quote unquote, who I believe we later find out to be Rangers, and found a baby with a note attached to it. The note said, "Hello, my name is Esther." Oh, jeez. And drawn below was a crudely drawn black sheep. He claims that the people who found the baby, the people, quote, the Rangers, knew that DAM had a baby named Esper once before. They found it appropriate to bring it back to their previous owners.
Zombies to the east of the fire station, moving towards them.
Harvey goes on to say that one of their own members, Iris, had grown a tad bit fond of the baby. And the group thought that it was going to cause issues for them in the future if they had to deal with a child, so they, quote, terminated it. A little retroactive abortion, you could say, end quote, says Harvey. Rebel went on to ask them if they, if they ate the baby. Several people from the group agreed that they had tasted it and tried. They even claimed that it, fuck it. They said it tasted like veal. One of the gruffer speaking members chimed in to say that it's, quote, one less mouth to feed, one less whining, crying, annoying mouth to feed, end quote. I asked them why they would give them the baby out of anyone. Why the hell they would take ownership of a child, even if they didn't necessarily want it. They claimed that it was theirs. That's why they received it. They didn't know what else to do with it. So, they ate it. They didn't want to keep it around because it would cause quote unquote, Iris problems. And as Harvey says, Iris problems are her own. I don't want to deal with that shit, end quote. He concludes by saying, quote, I guess Esther can't be used as a token or a bargaining chip, anything like that. She's in a better place. She's in the same place as Jezreel. As the group burst into laughter. Jesus Christ. We ended our discussion with DAM on a bit of a sour note. We found ourselves rather disgusted and having a hard time processing the information. child. A fucking child. After a bit more questioning, Dan seemed to have changed their interest onto items we were carrying, asking for donations to their group with my press vest on my body. We quickly retreated up the hill away from town, slowly backing away from them, and their group grew closer to us and closer, sniffing the air around us, whispering that they'd welcome us on our next visit to Gorka. Holy fuck, you guys. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it again, and I truly have a haunting experience that I will remember for the rest of my life. The look in their eyes, the smiles they shared, and their overall careless nature for creating something so monstrous truly numbs and astounds me at the same time. Needless to say, I think I speak for Rebel and I when I say this is one of the hardest things to process. We're saddened to break this story to those of you who may not have known, but it seems that this cruel world has once again claimed an innocent before they had a chance to grow into adulthood. These are the types of stories that truly make us think. So, on that sad note, that's it for now, guys. The Black Cross and the Wanderer situation is at a standstill for now, or at the brink of war. Will the group meet and speak in person to determine a middle ground? Or will war and death ignite in the north once again? I guess only time will tell. But anyways, folks, that's it for tonight's broadcast on all the news bits. Hopefully next week we'll have some more up-to-date information for you, or more than likely 2 weeks from now we'll have a broadcast out for you. But into a much lighter note, on to one of my most favorite parts of our broadcast is the advertisements at the very end. Reason being because this is the only thing we actually get paid for. But anyways, this next paid advertisement is from the carnival. Me and our friend there, Milton, went up there and had a talk with him the other day, and well, it was something to say the least. But anyways, this one comes from Marco himself. He says, and I quote, "The carnival. Come to Lollipop Tower and see the world-famous, first, Tedic Demetic, the master in a series of the most difficult, ingenious, and startling medical feats known to man. Second, Twitchy, the Blood Mage." Christ, what's a Blood Mage? And his amazing summoning of the Blood God to the end of the world, that's crazy. Should have read these notes before I proved them. And the Scary Clown. Thirdly, so come and see if you can run faster than his gun. Christ. Anyways, it's the world's largest, grandest, best amusement institution around. So come on down and enjoy, I guess. His next advertisement here is a note, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen around, but I was asked by him very specifically to re-incite it out to y'all once again. So, coming out from Tedic Demetic, oh, hold on, where's my notes? Alright, Tedic Demetic's Real Pleasant Visits. Free medical exams, 100% survival rate, and please contact Tedic to make your appointment today. And always remember to run for your life. It's Tedic. And also no refunds. So that concludes our paid advertisements for today. Oh, I will like to say though, with our most recent talk with the carnival, and on to the very end of this broadcast, they did want to mention one thing to Dugout, if you're listening out there. Is apparently you had some sort of altercation with some mangoes in the past, and apparently you owe Carnival something, and they'd like you to pay him back quite soon, or quote, there's gonna be problems, end quote. I went a little impromptu with that one. I forgot to write that down, but anyways, that's a message from Marco himself. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. War once again is igniting out in the north, and poor child has lost their life. Tune in next time to hear some of the crazy stories and amazing things that all you people are taking part of. My name is Lane Nielsen. This is my partner.
And I'm Rebel Johnson.
And with us today is also Milton, one of our new radio technicians. Milton, if you'd like to say hello to everybody.
Hey everybody, I am Milton. I hope the quality was acceptable and your listening experience was pleasurable.
Wonderful. And
This fucking guy, bro.
he's going to be ensuring that our radios are pristine and willing to have the best audio quality out to all you people of South Segoria. So, once again, thank you. This is the Bridge News Network, and tune in next time for some crazy stories. Thank you very much.